It's Triple Crown here, Wednesday, July 24th, 2024. Let's go. It's time for the 2024 National in Cleveland, Ohio. Here's a look at the outside of it before the madness gets started here. A little bit more decorative than you may have seen in past years at Atlantic City or Chicago. I like it. I like the little decorations they put up. Let's get into the show. I had a media badge for this show, which is why you can see I'm in the lobby a little bit earlier. This is the walk-in to the show here across this decorative red carpet. They talk about the red carpet area. That's not the same thing here. But walking into the show, it felt very small. That was till I realized there was a whole other side of the actual show floor. And that was crazy. You can see here I'm running into a few friends, shaking hands before I officially walk in. Now, on day one, I am mostly sticking to the value boxes because those are not going to be as heavily picked over. And I know right away dealers are not going to budge on prices. Several times early on, looking at the first few tables, when people tried to negotiate, it was like you were asking them to name their firstborn child after you to get any kind of discount off sticker. Dealers were holding very firm early on. That's not going to stop me from trying on some larger cards, but mostly going to stick to the cheap stuff here in the early goings. One of the first tables I go to is this guy who I think likes Gunnar Henderson, not 100% sure on that. But he has some really cool slab boxes that are over to my left. I'm going to dig through those, see what didn't quite make it in his showcases. If it seems like I am a little bit under the weather or my voice sounds weird, it is because I am. I have a little bit of a head cold from the National, and I was losing my voice kind of towards the end. So it may delay some of the videos by a couple of days, but I wanted to make sure I got these out for you guys. Now, as I'm going through this slab box, this is kind of my strategy as I go through the show floor. I want to make sure I'm using my time wisely. Whenever I go through any of these boxes, if I don't find anything within the first two handfuls that at least interest me or I think is a reasonable price, I'm moving on to the next box. Show floor time is valuable time, and really I can get a good sense for what a box is going to feel like going through. I saw some of those numbered judge refractors. I saw some nice first Bowman autos of all-stars like Corbin Burns and Hunter Green, stuff that would make it into most showcases at, say, a smaller show back home, but this guy has so many high-end cards that they're not going to be able to fit into his showcases here. That's what keeps me interested digging through these boxes. I don't end up with as many cards as I would hope for, but I do get a small little stack to at least get me on the board here to start the National.
Yeah, you do 40 on this stack here? It's 48.
You do 40 on the 48? 48.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Can I take a look at the 52 Mays? Thank you, sir. You bet.
I thought that was a pretty decent deal on that Evan Carter refractor that you saw a little bit earlier on, but now I'm focusing on some of the showcases, kind of scouting things out, not only for myself, but some of my friends. I did a pretty big deal on day 0 with my friend Eric, those back pages, for a 52 Topps Jackie Robinson. You can go check out the link in the description if you want to see him detail the trade there. But he was looking at possibly adding a 52 Mays to accompany the aforementioned Robinson, as well as his 52 Mantle that he picked up last year. This one, although you can't see it on camera, I'm just showing the palm of my hand here, was the closest one that I found to what he was looking for in terms of a sign grade, price point, and the aspects of the card that he would enjoy. But there was some snowing on the face that I figured would be a deal breaker for him. Unfortunately, I didn't find one as nice as this one for the remainder of the show, but trying to keep an eye out for friends here in the early goings. Back over to the value boxes, I actually found a 2020 Blue Ice. That doesn't happen too often. Unfortunately, it's one that I already have, but when you find one, there's a chance that you may find more. This was a 50% off sticker box, as you can see by that post-it note there. There's a lot of nice numbered hobby parallels in here, some pretty decent names. There's a Jerry Rice that I set aside. There's a Aaron Rodgers that I'll pick up at some point going through this stack. There's also some nice low-grade vintage of Hall of Famers. You saw some of those Yastrzemskis there. Really a solid box overall. I pick up this J.R. Smith auto for $1 because why not? I like picking up some of these hobby parallels or numbered things like this when I find them in boxes. It doesn't mean it's open season. I'm going to pick up all of them that I find, but these are good COM-C cards. And also going through this stack, whenever I saw Blue Ice or 2020 numbered Prism, I'd usually go through and explore the box because that means that there was at least a chance that they would put some Blue Ice in there. I did find 3 in this box. Unfortunately, I did not need any of them, but at least I finally found some, and I did get some quality numbered stuff there. There's that Rogers I was just talking about, and definitely worthwhile to dig through this box. I heard a lot of people complain that there weren't very many value boxes. I found that they were tougher to find good stuff in them as the show went on, but that's kind of what a lot of people expect. But there were definitely some good ones that I hit up, especially in the first 2 days at the show. This was an interesting box. This guy had a lot of 2017 through 2019 baseball, a lot of really good stuff in there, and I built quite the stack. You can see a numbered first Bowman Paredes, black Lindor. There's a Judge vintage stock that I have down there, and I'm kind of adding up what I want to pay, but really the big find were those Judge rookies from Update. They don't have the RC logo on them, which is why I think they got overlooked, but he did have some of the chrome versions in his $5 box, so I'm wondering if that's an oversight, but I'm going to put them in my stack. They're priced at $1, and we're going to see what happens here.
All right, well, maybe it's 3 dubs. Did you find some?
Better come hungry.
You got some?
Yeah. Can you do 140 on that stack? I think it was like 171 or something.
These are dollars?
Yeah.
We'll do $1.50. If it's 170?
I think so. Double check my math. There was $24.
I tried to make it a little easier on the dealers here by telling them what I calculated the stack at and giving them my offer rather than asking what's the best you'll do on this, which was a question I heard quite a bit early on in the show. But tell them what it came out to. Here's my offer. A lot of times I would work. Dealers would say, yep, go ahead. And I was on my way. It looks like he gets a little caught up here at those judges in the dollar box.
140.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
No, some judges.
What the hell were those? Dollar. There's one in your dollar.
Did you put it together for me?
What's it?
You did put it together.
Those are a rookie card.
If you want to move those to a different box, I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah, these got moved maybe the wrong box.
They shouldn't be in a dollar box. No, this is rookie card, dude.
Yeah, they were in there with like the Bellingers and stuff. If you want to take those out, I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, those are...
Yeah.
Someone's thumbed through a couple of these and...
I think someone put him in there and came back for him. Was planning on coming back for him.
130 bucks.
He left you some of them too, just so you know.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Probably more than fair.
Cool.
The dealers had someone helping them out. I think those judges got put in the wrong box. Most of the stuff that was above $1 was in top loaders. Those judges weren't, but seeing that there were a few in there, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I figured it was probably some kind of misunderstanding, but we compromised. He took a little bit off my stack and took some of the judges out, but still left me with a nice little handful of them. So fair for both sides. I'm glad that we were able to work that out, and they were able to keep a few of the judges in the correct boxes. One thing that has happened to me from doing more regional shows such as Nashville and Dallas is running into some of these larger dealers at these shows and building relationships with them. I'm not talking about just the big guys who are local to me, but the big guys who travel to these regional shows. That was the case here. These dealers I have made a few deals with before. I think the first time we met was one of the Nashville shows that I first attended way back in 2022. They remembered me, I remembered them. They always have good stuff. They always have good prices as well. And this is definitely one of the first tables that I wanted to stop at and really take a deep dive into the showcases to see what I can find. There are several things jumping out to me early on, and I don't want to take a chance of leaving anything behind because chances are it won't be there the next time I come around. So I'm going to be really thorough looking through here, making sure there's nothing that I can't live without early on.
White?
The Harper.
Oh, the Harper. What we got?
You've been running around with a lot of
Top
shows?
3, 195 only
You've been
sale.
doing a whole lot?
Just been doing Dallas.
That's what I got on it. Let me give you a question to your answer. 195 only sale.
It's a nasty.
I do 175.
All right, I'm good with that one, but
I know this
I'll
is
split
not
the
like-
Riley auto.
This is the same thing.
The Super out of Transcendent?
Yeah,
I'd probably do like, I don't know, 500.
500.
Yeah.
Sorry, one more. The
When
Chad
did you
Johnson
get
Falls.
here?
When did we get here today?
Oh, you got here today?
Yeah, 11. Well, I drove in yesterday.
Yeah, I drove in Monday.
Okay, yeah, so you've been, yeah.
We've just been chilling, having a great time. Indians game last night. Did the Polish boy over at Banter.
Yeah, okay.
Or just chilled.
Yeah,
It's been great. Bed by 10:30.
well, that's ideal.
This gentleman was like, what you got
Anything for me?
Which one?
The Chad Johnson Flawless patch.
Thanks, Jake.
Are you guys separate then? From,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, we're all together.
Yeah.
That one is going to be. That one's 180.
180.
This is something that will happen quite a bit at some of these larger shows, is that people will split tables. Now, I heard the National was cracking down on that this year, but I still saw quite a bit of it. You have multiple dealers here with showcases at this table, meaning that some cards belong to one person, some cards belong to another. That will add some wrinkles when bundling, because you have to appease more than just two sides, being the buyer and the seller. Now you have a buyer and multiple sellers. So one guy at this booth has Chad Johnson 101 Flawless patch, another has that Austin Riley Superfractor auto. Therefore, if I make a bundle price, it's got to work out for both of them, but that's not going to stop me from trying.
What did I quote you? 180. And what was your offer?
I was going to offer you, I offered you 6 for both, but I mean, I can do it separate if that's easier for you guys.
That's same thing. 6. And what did he say his bottom was on that? 6?
5.
You guys have a
You pay cash, right?
Yeah.
This was also an observation I made early on. A lot of dealers were trying to clarify early on if you were paying cash or you were using an electronic form of payment. Most of them would accept an electronic form of payment, but you would have to add whatever service fee there was for whatever your payment method of choice may be. Whether that be a credit card using a Square machine or a digital service such as Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it is.
These games?
Game one.
Well, I won't say it. I'll take them. 660. Yeah.
You got a booth? I'm impressed. That's awesome.
Hey, what's up?
The Chad being game used is what really pushed me over the edge to take their counter offer. I thought this was a pretty solid price. Actually, I had probably a dozen people reach out to me on Instagram when I posted it up later that night trying to buy it. Did to come to an agreement with one buyer on it. Then here's a picture of the Austin Riley Superfractor. Really gorgeous looking card on the 59 Topps design. Very pleased to get a deal like this done this early in the show. In terms of selling at the National, I wasn't really intending to do so that much. I kind of pick and chose my spots on the show floor. Certain dealers I knew that I would try to sell to. If someone had a showcase that kind of appealed to me where I thought like I might be able to get something done, I would also attempt to go to them. But one of the stops I knew for sure I was going to make was over at Santiago Sports to move some of my larger Lions pieces, and here's how that went down.
It came to you before anybody else.
That's cool. I like the Calvin. I know this has a great patch, but the Trues do a bit less, right? You know the pop on this at all?
Should be 1. I can check it for you if you want.
It's not Jamie that looks so
Hello,
nice.
man. How are you? They're saying he looks good in training camp, so.
So I'm moving it now. I'm a Lions fan too. As much as I want him to work out.
No Dunkin' Donuts. You see his gun?
Yeah, that's why I brought it over here for him. So
Yeah, that's a big one.
2. Pop 2.
Back to pop 2.
Say Okay, pop one.
Got the market, yeah.
So raw, they're like pretty consistently around 250.
Right.
Well, like what's your real number on it?
I mean, realistically, I like to get 650, but what are you thinking?
It doesn't seem too realistic, but I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, probably 450. That's where I would
450. Yeah.
That's like.
Might be a little too far apart, but I figured I'd come to you first.
I appreciate it.
Go Lions as always.
Go Lions. What did he say? Lions. It's already coming.
No deal with Santiago Sports. The big reason I approached him was because back in January at Culture Collision, he bought a few of my nicer Lions cards in my case. Actually from Justin. Justin was handling the deal while I was walking around shopping. He didn't really negotiate on them. I think they were just cards he wanted in his collection. That's why I went to him with those. I figured on some higher end Lions cards if he wanted them in his collection. He was probably one of the people that would be most likely to pay me strong on them. He didn't seem as interested in them as I initially thought. He definitely thought they were cool, but I think he was more so looking at it through a resale lens rather than a I'm going to add to my collection lens, which is perfectly understandable, especially early on in the show. If dealers are going to pick up something for themselves, it's usually going to come a little bit later on once they've made their money to pay for the expenses of the weekend. But time to turn my focus back to buying. You can see I'm eyeballing this Trout Dynasty that's in my hand, numbered to 5 with part of the little circle logo patch. Crazy to think that this only has a $1,000 sticker on it. If you would have said that to someone this time last year, they would probably look at you sideways and pull out their wallet faster than you could blink. But that's kind of the state of the trout market. There's some really good opportunities there in my opinion. That's why I am eyeballing this and potentially a couple of other cards in this guy's case to bundle along with it. You can see I have plenty of time to think it over here because the guy next to me is with his young daughter. They end up buying this 86 Fleer Jordan PSA 8 from this dealer. It was cool to see it unwind, or I guess the deal unfold in front of my eyes. I think one thing that sometimes is lost in the hobby is being able to appreciate others, being able to pick up something that they've been after, whether it be for a month, a year, a decade, decades, or even a lifetime. And in this case, this Jordan card, I could definitely tell it meant a lot to him, and something that he could share with his daughter, this kind of moment. Those are the types of things that you just can't get online, and it was cool to experience it, seeing someone else be brought so much joy from one card, especially a card like that, which to many people in the hobby, that's their grail. And just really cool. Things that you don't see, at most other shows, but at the National, those types of moments do happen. As far as I'm concerned, though, I am looking at some of the lower end stuff in this guy's case, obviously with a 86 Fleer Jordan PSA 8. There is going to be a lot of other high-end cards in here, meaning that I'm not going to be able to bundle as much, but he also has some things behind the table. I'm hoping that he might just have some things that he's looking to put out as the biggest cards in his showcases sell, and maybe I can get a look at some stuff that nobody else has been able to get a look at. Once he finishes up with this Jordan deal, I'm going to move in and try to make my deal happen.
I didn't forget about you, man. Sorry.
No, you're good. That's a bigger deal than what I'm going to do. So.
Oh, hey, thank you. What you thinking on it?
I was thinking on the JFK, too. Is that like from...
Yeah, this is from his personal sweater. This is back when they actually made them out of real things.
Yeah.
It says on the back.
2007.
Yeah, I just started to do like other stuff just because like sports for so long. I enjoy it. It's cool. Like it's not super expensive. Like you can make a bad buy. It's not gonna kill you.
Yeah. I look at the Statue of Liberty as well.
Yeah. This one.
Yeah. Oh, you have multiple. I guess that is too.
This is honestly the more expensive one. That's my favorite one, just because it has the whole New York City. This is 1906, so Statue of Liberty is like 20 years old. It's not even copper yet. It's not even like green yet.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a what is this from?
So
Like,
this is from that's actually a beef base. They did like meat extract back then. It's like beef base essentially. And they did a German one, a French one, and there's no English one. German, French. There's another language. I forget which one it is. And they just insert them into like their products. It's like this is a biscuit company from over in France. Yeah, I think these are more collectible because this is from the United States. This is
yeah, I'm familiar with this one.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
This is where having friends in the hobby and them sharing their knowledge with you can be to your benefit. I would not know a single thing about that Statue of Liberty card if it wasn't for discussing said card with my friend and my roommate at this show, those back pages, Eric. Sometime back in the spring, he was looking at that card in a lower grade. At the time, the highest graded example was an 8. That 6 was the second highest one. And actually, I believe 2 of them were graded on site at the show, but there are now 3 PSA 6s out there. There's also now a PSA 7.5 out there as well. I'm not sure what the pop is on SGC. There's only about 2 dozen graded with PSA. I definitely love that Statue of Liberty card. It's something unique. Really something that I'm looking for at this show. And now I'm asking to take a look at the stuff behind the table, going through here. There's some cheaper stuff. I mean, a lot of these cards are not cheap, but cheaper relative to what he has out in his case. I'm hoping that maybe there's something in that stack that could possibly add into both the Trout and the Statue of Liberty to finalize this deal, but I'm definitely making sure I walk away with that Trout.
How much do you have on this one?
Oh god, that was a hard one. 1,500.
It's pretty solid. How about Star? Where you at on home?
Oh, 400 out of 5.
We do some math real quick.
Sure, yeah.
Bart Starr is kind of an interesting player in the hobby. A lot of quarterbacks that are really pre-Montana times aren't too heavily collected. I would argue that Starr is by far and away the most collected. And among his collector base, there are some pretty serious Bart Starr collectors. And the only reason I know that is because I've talked with several of them, and some of them are actually here in the YouTube community. So seeing this card being out of 5, I highly doubt I'm going to find any of these that have sold in the past, being that there's only 5 of them. But 400 for a Bart Starr auto from this era, being early 2010s Panini, seems like a pretty solid price. And if I'm able to bundle it with the other 2 cards, I feel like I'm getting a good deal on all 3 of these cards here. I want to try to get this right around 17. I'd be absolutely thrilled. I think his sticker's a little bit over 2K on this. In fact, it's actually exactly 2K now watching it back. But if I could get to 17 here, I would be thrilled.
You do 17 on all 3?
17?
Yeah.
A minute and a half is going to go by before I get an answer in regard to this. As more time goes on, it makes me feel a little bit more confident because to me, it's not an immediate no, meaning that 17 is a serious enough offer where he is at least considering it. I don't think he is willing to quite accept it. I'm going to guess he's going to come back a little bit more. I'm a little worried he might say I'll do 1850, but my gut tells me he's going to say 18. If he said 1750, I would shake his hand, no questions asked. I wouldn't try to come back at 17 again. But just based on my history doing these kinds of deals, something tells me he's going to say 18, and I think we'd be able to meet in the middle at 1750. So I have a lot of confidence at this point.
At 18, we do 9 and 9. This is a tough one to figure out, because even the ones on a 10 are like around 8. So I'm at like 9, and then so I could do 9 here. This is the second high. Like this is a pop 2, only one's higher, so that's a tough one.
Yeah, I think there's like my friend was showing me, he saw the one that was highest. It was like an 8 or something.
Yeah, I think there's 1 8. Yeah. Anything you're selling?
I do. Yeah, if you want to take a look.
Yeah, that's
You want to split it at 1750?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Kind of swap the order of the clips there, but he wanted to see if possibly we could work out a trade, or I could sell something to him that would offset the kind of our difference between 17 and 18. He didn't really see anything that jumped out to him, and rather than force something where he buys something at a price maybe he's uncomfortable with, or I sell something at a price that I'm uncomfortable with, I offer the middle ground of 1750, and very shortly thereafter he shakes my hand. Good deal for both sides, I felt. I was extremely pleased with that purchase, and overall that was the last big deal of day one. I did a little bit more value box digging, but outside of that, no major purchases to speak of, but I really can't complain. It was a fantastic way to start off the show. Did a lot better than I expected. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There is plenty more national content to come. I have vlogs for days 2 through 5 in the pipeline, and you'll see that over the next couple of weeks. I'll see you later this week with part 2. Take care, stay safe, be kind.